UFC 304. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video as well. And also note, I'm going to be live for the entire card. Fight Companion going down 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss it. I can't wait for it. Let's get into the picks. Starting the card off, we have Shauna Bannon versus Elise Ardelean. I've been going with Shauna Bannon to get the win throughout the entire week. I see her getting probably a decision. Ardelean's pretty experienced with 14 pro fights, and she fought two notable names, both losses, Diana Belbita and the current strawweight champ Wei Li outside of the UFC, and definitely before either of them hit their fighting primes. So I guess you can respect the name value of the past, but her last fight, she beat a girl who was 0-3. I know that she has a big TikTok. I know that she does OnlyFans. She has other revenue sources outside of fighting. I don't consider her to be fighting only. She doesn't have the same hunger and drive of Shauna Bannon. I don't believe that. I think Bannon's going to be able to beat her. I see her as the slicker striker. I think she'd have a grappling advantage too. I expect Shauna Bannon to win this fight pretty cleanly. I think decision is very live. I think Shauna Bannon's kickboxing from the outside is going to be a problem. She seems to be a bit faster and a bit more precise. And I honestly think that Bannon on the scorecards is a pretty live method of victory. Ardelean's going to be scrappy. She can mix up her striking decently. Her hands are solid. She throws pretty good punches, but nothing overly impressive, and a little bit of like reckless flurries in her game that I definitely think could get her caught by the superior technician. Really, Elise Ardelean is on a 7-fight win streak if you include 2 exhibition fights that she's had, but the competition is nowhere near scratching the surface at UFC level. So the pick for me is Shauna Bannon all day long. There is Shauna Bannon weighing in, looking solid. She looks fantastic. She looks great here, and I think she's going to get her first UFC win. Now here is Elise Ardelean, who came in looking a little bit uncomfortable on the scale. Not a great feature for her. I don't feel like it was an easy weight cut, especially coming in on short notice. And ultimately, I just don't think she's going to beat a prospect like Bannon. There's certain things that just happen as they should, and I think Shauna Bannon beating Elise Ardelean is one of those things. There's the face-off between the two. It's almost like you can feel the full-time fighter intensity on the side of Shauna Bannon. And then Ardelean, you know, is a martial artist. She's got fights, but nowhere near the level. There's the face-off right there. You know what's interesting, though, is I feel like this angle makes Ardelean look bigger than in reality. Watching the weigh-ins live with the UFC broadcast, it seemed like Shauna Bannon had a bit more of a size advantage than this. And I think she's going to win the fight. So Shauna Bannon to get it done. -187 is the favorite, with Ardelean as a +160 dog. Probably hits the over, but I don't like the over 2.5. I think Shauna Bannon to win is better because there is a possibility of Bannon getting it done inside of the distance, especially with Ardelean jumping in here on short notice. Bannon on the ground may surprise you guys and get a sub at +600, but ultimately Bannon straight down the center would be better than the rest. I expect her to win, and I think that she could be a good alternate parlay piece if you're looking to play something that is like against the mainstream of, you know, what's 100% anticipated to happen. We'll talk about parlays at the end. Bannon for the win. Mama B getting it done for Ireland to start the card off. And I'm excited to see her. I hope she wins. I like Shauna Bannon a lot. Next fight, we got Mick Parkin versus Łukasz Brzeski. Mick Parkin is the pick, and he's been the pick all week. He came in strong, 264. He's going to have a 30-pound weight advantage over Łukasz Brzeski in this fight, and I actually really love to hear that because I think Parkin is going to use some grappling. The striking of Parkin is technically sound for sure, but I do think Brzeski could have moments in the stand-up. I definitely don't think he's completely outgunned in a striking match. Where I think Parkin has a clear-cut advantage is mixing in takedowns, because Łukasz Brzeski ultimately, I think, is horrible on the floor with really bad takedown defense. And I feel as though Parkin can exploit the weakness as opposed to just standing and striking with Brzeski, who has okay hands. There's Brzeski looking pretty good on the scale. He's lean. He's in shape. He's ready to give it hell. There's Parkin, who I actually think for him looks good. Still soft, but like that's how his frame always looks. He's a little bit more of a pudge ball as opposed to, a Shredski. There's the face-off. You got Hunchback of Notre Dame with Mick Parkin. My God, the Hunchback is something so interesting about him, right? It's one of the worst Hunchbacks I've ever seen in MMA. Maybe the worst ever. The neck comes out like a foot, before the body comes out. Holy shit. I think that the size advantage that Brzeski seems to have at the face-off is a little bit of a concern from boxing range because Brzeski at 235 is probably going to be a little quicker than Parkin. I think Parkin is going to need to tie up and grapple here. I'll say that there's a little bit of a worry with Brzeski boxing all night long and Parkin unable to tie up, and if he gets caught up on the outside getting outboxed, he is a bust. I'm going to tell you this. Mick Parkin is not a future champion. He is not a future title challenger. He is eventually going to run into a loss. I have been confident on Parkin all week, but I won't lie to you. I did not anticipate seeing Łukasz Brzeski have this much of a size advantage. Simply going off the weigh-in, I don't feel as confident in Mick Parkin as I did throughout the entire week. With that being said, I am still picking Mick Parkin. This is not a pick flip. Don't panic too much if your parlays are going, but I do think you should have a backup option because he's not that good. And Brzeski being bigger and longer, I guess not bigger as far as weight, but taller and longer, if Parkin is unable to get on the inside, he could get touched up from the outside. So a little bit of a worrying call with Parkin, which was initially very confident. At minus 350 is an oversized favorite. Brzeski plus 285. I don't think Brzeski is elite or even very good. He's 1-3 in the UFC. But we have to judge this in a honest manner. I don't want to tell you guys, oh, it's a lock. Over 2.5 minus 175. Parkin was a high confident pick all week, but I just didn't like what I saw from him at the face-off. I did not anticipate the size difference. They're listed at 6'4" on both sides. Looking at the face-off, Parkin looks 6'1", Brzeski looks 6'4.5". That's worrisome. Now, I think Parkin's fight IQ is better. I think Parkin could get it to the ground. I think Parkin could close the gap and control against the cage. Parkin by decision is the official pick, plus 115. He hasn't shown much finishing ability in the UFC, but does train alongside Tommy Aspinall. You have to assume that he has a quality game plan in mind for Łukasz Brzeski. And I don't think he's going to be overlooking Brzeski because on paper, as bad as Brzeski is, he's not a horrible fighter. He's not. And I'm worried about Parkin a little. Shrek is not looking as good as I thought he would. I'll still pick Parkin. Nothing changing with the pick. But I did feel a dwindle of confidence seeing the shitty face-off there. But I think if I knew for a fact Parkin was gonna look to wrestle here, I think he's a confident call still. So I will hope that he decides to wrestle up Brzeski a bit, who has suspect wrestling. He should not lose this fight to Łukasz Brzeski, but ultimately, Parkins wins. Eduardo Neves, Jamal Pogues, Kyle Machado, not huge wins. I guess the Pogues one's decent. I still think Mick Parkin's winning. Don't panic on your parlays and cash out just yet, but I'm just giving you a word of worry because I felt it as I saw the face-off. But Mick Parkin is still a pick. Okay, he's been a confident call all week. I can say right now in the honest moment how I feel with my analytical breakdown, the techniques of the guys. When I broke it all down and looked at the fight, face off aside, Mick Parkin is better. And he should win the fight 7 times out of 10 at worst. Mick Parkin for the W. Next fight on the card, Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosbie. I've been picking Sam Patterson to win by submission all week. Kiefer Crosby's a bit of a flight risk. He kind of sold in the last fight when he took on Kevin Jousset. Did try to land some hard punches early, but as soon as Jousset got it to the ground, he got completely exposed. Sam Patterson is a worrisome fighter because of that skinny neck, okay? He's very susceptible to big shots, and I would say questionable chin. Questionable. Now, Kiefer Crosbie is no power puncher. He's no Jack Della Maddalena, but he still has enough sting to get a knockout. He's knocked people out before. Kiefer Crosbie does have 5 knockout wins as a pro, all in the first round. And I don't think Kiefer Crosbie does well in this fight going into a second round. So betting-wise, I have an interesting idea, which I will present to you guys. But first, I want to bring up the scales. Okay. Kiefer Crosbie looks in really good shape. For his UFC debut, he did not. Remember that. Sam Patterson looks excellent as well. He's in really good shape too. I got to respect both guys on the scales coming in, looking in, I think, their best form, to be honest. Then we got the face-off between the two guys here. There it is. You see the height difference for Patterson, but he does, like I'm saying, got that skinny neck, and Crosby's pretty jacked up. He's got big hooks. The Sam Patterson pick has been strong throughout the week, but I never called him a most confident. And seeing how good Kiefer Crosbie has shown in condition here, I'm glad that I didn't, simply because it's a little bit of a worry. We have to be a little bit worried. I mean, if Kiefer Crosbie lands some big shots in the first round, Patterson doesn't respond well to punches. He's been dropped. He's been knocked down. He's been knocked out. Minus 425 is simply not worth it on a money line for Patterson, who is the pick. But I think there's ways you can play this to make it interesting. Now, Crosbie plus 325, he'd be your value dog. But what if you went Crosbie first round knockout plus 550 degenerate play, and then on the opposite side, if you want to play both sides, you have Patterson minus 120 win by sub. I do think Patterson is the official win by submission as the method of victory, but Crosbie by first round knockout is kind of calling my name more than playing Patterson by sub. I think we're probably going under 1.5 at minus 180. I'm anticipating a violent fight. The Patterson chin is a big worry, so if you have Patterson in all your damn parlays, you could win. You should win. I'm picking him to win. But in the fight game, one punch changes everything. And I cannot confidently pick somebody. I'm picking him, but I cannot confidently pick somebody who is chinny. Sam Patterson should get the submission. That is the official method of victory call. And I think you can degen prop it for Crosbie and throw down on Patterson by sub if you're looking for something, because I think both of those are live methods of victory. But Patterson will still remain the pick. I'm going skinny neck, a.k.a. the real long neck, to get it done over Kiefer Crosbie by sub. Next fight on the card, we have Muhammad Mokaev and Manel Kape. I called Muhammad Mokaev the lock of the week. Okay, I'm going with him as the value lock. Now, obviously, I do 5 locks, right? 5 high confident picks. But, you know, I tried to throw a money lineable lock this week at you guys. And Mokaev and Kape have been going back and forth. Holy shit. They got into it yesterday, and there was a brawl at the Fighter Hotel. They almost got into it today in the actual weigh-in stage and afterwards backstage. Mokaev should out-wrestle him and put a pace on him. I think that the takedowns of Mokaev are going to be a problem. There's going to be a lot of emotion in this fight, and I'm very curious to see if it affects either guy. Mokaev being just nearly 24, his birthday's the day after the fight. You would assume it affects him a little more, maybe makes him uncharacteristically aggressive. But I do credit these guys with high enough fight IQs. I think Mokaev is going to look to chain wrestle here. Kape's going to have the knockout chance for sure. He's the more powerful puncher, but it's not going to be easy to stop Mokaev from chain wrestling all night. This is his game, and I think he does it fairly well, and that's why I called Mokaev in the first place. Now let's check out the scales, and let's see. Manel Kape, good shape, ready to go. Muhammad Mokaev, so it was a quick weigh-in. He was like looking away, and then they announced his weight was 126. Even he was surprised. A little bit odd, right? Little bit odd. I tried to zoom into the scale, but from the angle of the video that I saw, I couldn't see if there was movement. It looked like the scale was on weight when he made it, but who the hell knows, man? With some of these Muslim fighters, they get that UFC bias. We've seen it in, you know what I'm saying, the Middle East with a couple fights, and maybe it's delivering more. So there's no face-off, but you can see these guys almost got into a fight. Mokaev walks on stage, Kape kind of squares up at him, and Mokaev tries to run at him, and thankfully, the UFC security does their job and breaks these guys up. They cannot wait to get at each other. Guys, you fight tomorrow. You don't need to fight for free today. You're going to both get 6-figure paychecks to fight tomorrow. What are we doing? I don't get it. Oh, my God. The beef is real, though. And that's what makes this fun, because with honest, authentic beef, I expect a very intense fight. And the fact that Mokaev is the lock heading into this fight, I think this is a cutthroat matchup. And at least excitement-wise, I think it couldn't have written itself any better with me locking Mokaev in probably the biggest, no, definitely the biggest beef on this card. I think that the Leon Edwards Belal beef is still sport. This is fighting shit. Mokaev's team jumped Kape. There's going to be a lot of bad blood here, and I don't think that it ends at the end of the fight. So security got to be ready, because I can see these teams throwing down after the damn match ends, no matter what the outcome. So very exciting for me. Yeah, going for a Mokaev lock has just added anticipation and excitement. I'm hype as hell to see this fight. Now, ultimately, okay, Mokaev, moneyline lock. The odds are not as good as when I locked it, and now it kind of gets into a chalkier territory at minus 168. It's teetering towards 2-1. Kape is a plus 148 underdog. Looking at everything here, over is most likely at minus 200. Mokaev decision plus 150. If Kape wins, he probably gets a third round knockout. That's plus 1600. So my official pick is going to stay Mokaev. Now he's minus 175. He's still a value lock here for this card. I think he's money lineable, but not as money lineable as he was a few days back, right? He was in the minus 120s. He was at plus money last week, but I locked it around minus, 120 to 140. Now it's teetered towards 175. We don't rewrite history. Listen, I can't take a step back. I'm standing my ground. Mokaev should win this fight, but it has gotten a little bit chalky, and that's unfortunate. Doesn't matter. Mokaev to win and still undefeated. He probably isn't squashing the beef with Manel Kape, but he's going to squash Kape. Let's go. The Punisher for the win. We're going with Mohamed Mokaev to get it done. And this fight should not be on the prelims. This should be on the main card. Next fight on the card, we have Oban Elliott versus Preston Parsons. I absolutely love this fight. I'm picking Oban Elliott. The Welsh gangster has inspired me to start flexing more on stream, bro. All right? Shout out to the Welsh gangster. He's a badass. I'm a big fan. Oban's game is solid, too. His striking is good. His grappling is good, too. He's quick. He's faster than Preston Parsons. He's taller than Preston Parsons. We'll look at the face-off in a second. Now, I want to give credit where it's due. Preston Parsons came in absolutely jacked. If you just told me, yo, this dude's taking steroids, I wouldn't question you. Now, I'm not saying he's definitely on steroids, but Preston Parsons is freakishly jacked. Holy shit. And there's Oban Elliott, who's in good shape, but not even comparable. Really, Preston Parsons should be the one flexing, not Oban here in this matchup, because holy shit, man. Parsons is built like a fucking freight train. Now, here's the face-off. You see Oban Elliott's got that slight height advantage, right? A little bit taller naturally. I think this is an interesting matchup. I think Oban Elliott's going to pull off a competitive decision. I see him as the better striker between the two, with Parsons having better wrestling, but I do believe Oban's grappling might be better. A lot of mights in this fight, and I do have the underdog here in Oban Elliott, so I guess it's maybe a might, maybe not an absolute, but either way, close money line, badass fight, and I'm going with Oban Elliott to get it done. Plus 120 for Oban Elliott. Preston Parsons at minus 140. Team Oban, the Welsh gangster, to pull through. Over 2.5 is minus 140. Oban by a decision sits at plus 275. If he locks up a sub, what is that? Plus 1,000? When's the last time Oban Elliott got a submission, though? It's been a while. He's got 3 sub wins. He hasn't won by sub since 2022. Preston Parsons got submitted by Valdir Arujo a few years ago. Maybe several years ago. I think it might have been 2018. But he has been submitted before. Elliott could catch him in something. I like the underdog Elliott to get the win. If you're looking for an underdog bet to throw down on, maybe he's the one for you. Ultimately, I don't think it's $3,000 fucking underdog bet, betting your whole, week's worth of cash or whatever the fuck. But I'm still calling Oban Elliott to get his hand raised. He should win, and I'm picking him as an underdog here. Definitely can spruce up some parlays in a fight that's pretty competitive. I think Elliott's got a good chance. We're going with Oban. Next fight on the card, Modestas Bukauskas versus Marcin Prachnio. I've been picking Modestas Bukauskas. I saw an interview clip of him saying this is the best form ever, and I take him at his word. We'll look at the scales, and you're going to see he's in fantastic shape. I think Bukauskas' boxing is actually going to be the ultimate difference maker with Prohashnio? Who the fuck is that? To me, this looks like a homeless great value version of Yuri Prochazka. It looks like for Halloween, Prachnio wanted to be Prochazka. And then we got then we got Bukauskas, who looks crazy. He's jacked as fuck, though. Great shape for him here. I like what I'm seeing from Bukauskas, man. I still believe in him. Yeah, look at that. There's the face-off. Modestas Bukauskas versus the Yuri Prochazka doppelganger / great value clone, Marcin Prachnio. Listen, I think that Bukauskas is winning here. This isn't the real Yuri Prochazka. Prachnio comes from karate, but his striking gets sloppy. Bukauskas is cleaner. The biggest thing Bukauskas got to watch out for is those leg kicks, but I think he'll be all right. Modestas Bukauskas to win this fight, and I think he gets back on track with a nice W here over Marcin Prachnio. Now, looking at the betting lines for this fight, Bukauskas around -145. I think he's winning a hard-fought decision. Prachnio +125. I got a good feeling about Bukauskas. The confidence in Bukauskas post-weigh-in is rose. I don't care what anybody says. I know people like Prachnio as a dog, but, bro, he's not that good. Over 2.5, -158. Bukauskas decision, +155. I think it's a competitive clash, but I think it's Bukauskas' fight to win here. A little bit younger as well. Actually, a lot of bit younger. 5 years younger, longer reach, better hands. I think the skill set of Bukauskas will continue to improve, where I believe we have seen the finest form of Marcin Prachnio, and it ain't that fine. Bukauskas for the win. And the confidence rose on Bukauskas. If you're on the betting side, you know, there's a bone for you. Next fight, Colin Loughran versus Jake Hadley. Note it, Jake Hadley, missed weight by 1 pound. He did take this fight on short notice. I've been picking Colin Loughran, a.k.a. Midget Irish Brock Lesnar, the dwarf version. I like Loughran. He was jawing back and forth earlier today with Paddy Pimblett, too. I don't think he wants that lightweight smoke, but he's getting his name, you know what I'm saying, up there with a UFC star. I think Loughran's skill set's going to be solid here. He's physically very strong. His boxing's pretty decent. He's got good ground and pound. There's Loughran weighing in. He looks like something out of a fucking comedy movie for, like, your typical, like, generic NPC Irish head, but you give him a slight bit of sloth from the Goonies, and bam, there we go. And Jake Hadley is nowhere to be found. Where's Jake Hadley? I guess we got to go here for Jake Hadley. Wow, they left out Jake Hadley. How'd they do him so dirty? Thankfully, I always have other options. Jake Hadley looked like shit on the scale, and I think Jake Hadley's on his way to taking a fat L. There he is. He missed weight by 1 pound. His demeanor wasn't good. Somehow he looks like he's a Homer Simpson spinoff here. I don't know what the fuck happened. And then let's pull up the face-off between these two savages. We go to the next page for the face-off. We've leveled up, guys. We've moved on to the next page. You got to scroll all the way down to the bottom because there's a lot of them. Am I missing something? I swear the face-off was right there. Am I blind to the face-off? Guys in the comments, if you're with me here as I'm searching for the face-off, I hope that I find it in a moment because that's really annoying. There it is. I missed it. Oh, my gosh. Oops. You know why I missed it? I'll tell you why. Because they're too zoomed in. Should have zoomed out a little bit. All right, so there is Loughran. There is Jake Hadley. Jawing back and forth. I'm picking Loughran. I think he can get a finish here. I don't think Jake Hadley's that good. And he's also a flyweight. He came in overweight. He's on short notice. I think Loughran could end up knocking him out. I think he bodies him on the ground. Colin Loughran for the win. I think he's pulling through over Jake Hadley. Now, as far as the odds, Loughran is the -220 favorite with Hadley as a +187 underdog. I like Loughran. Over 2.5 is -255. Loughran to win by a decision is -115. The Loughran by KO at +500. I think he can get a KO. Loughran's known for finishes, and he's known for ground and pound. I mean, if you look at Loughran's game, he does have, 5 KOs? Later KOs, too, right? 4 in the second round. I think a tired Hadley might get pounded on, man. I know that Hadley's never been finished, but this is also his, UFC bantamweight debut, and he's taking on a pretty strong prospect in Colin Loughran. So give me Loughran for the win. I think he beats a short notice version of Jake Hadley here, and I like Mini Brock. I like the Irish Mini Brock to win it. Next fight on the card, ladies going after it. We got Molly Meatball McCann versus Bruna Brasil. I've been picking Molly McCann all week, and I've said I think that Molly can make Bruna Brasil uncomfortable. Molly brings in good boxing pressure. She's got nice combinations at 115. I think that she's going to be stronger and more powerful than a lot of girls. And Bruna Brasil, as technical as she is, I think she struggles with a dogfight, and that is exactly what Molly McCann brings. So Molly Meatballs has been the pick all week long. I don't think Brasil is able to just control range, keep it at a sparring pace, and get a decision off of her. There is Bruna Brasil. There is Molly Meatballs. Molly looks solid and ready to rock. Good shape for him. For her, I should say. All right, now we got to go to the next page. Holy shnikes. Bum-ba-rum-bum-bum. Bum-ba-rum-bum-bum. Next page. 1 second away. Am I missing things? Am I blind, guys? Is my vision gone? I can't see. Oh my God, I went 2 pages. That's why. There's the face-off. There's the face-off. Look at that. Look at that face-off. Bruna Brasil looks very good in this with the tongue out. Meatball Molly in good shape, ready to kill. She said she's not facing off with anybody. She ain't making eye contact. I think Molly McCann can win. She's a chalky favorite at minus 335. Brasil plus 275. And also, we got to give her 20 points of fucking aura boost after putting her tongue out like that. I do think Molly McCann's going to get it done. The over is minus 155. The under plus 125. I've been calling a Molly Meatballs knockout, but I don't know why the confidence on it has not skyrocketed all week. It's kind of lulled out a little. The KO plus 225. I think Molly does win, but she's way too chalky to money line. Shitty parlay piece, but you could do it if you're looking to just, add something in. Knockout is live, but I don't really love the bet. Molly in the first round, plus 600. I might be pulling at straws with that. Bruna Brasil is still pretty technically sound, picks her shots well. I think Molly McCann gets a win, and I think she's live for a finish, but don't really love the betting side of it. Earlier in the week, it called knockout, but right now I'm feeling Molly McCann by decision. But I think Bruna Brasil is going to be a fairly difficult fight for her. I don't see it as a squash in, 3 minutes or less. We'll go with Molly Meatball to still pull it off against Bruna Brasil. But definitely, not the most confident pick on the card. And definitely odds to confidence ratio, not a great bet. Next fight on the card, we have Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. It's also our featured prelim of the night. I've been picking Nathaniel Wood all week as a confident pick. I think that he beats this version of Daniel Pineda. Wood's pretty technical, man. He picks shots well. He's got a very well-rounded game. He could easily be on a 4-fight win streak, but absolute foul fest in the Middle East against Naimov that nothing got called, ends up costing him a decision. But before that, 3 big wins in a row, and against Charles Jourdain and Andre Fili, who are pretty notable names in the featherweight division. And even though Pineda has a no contest with Fili 3 years ago, he was getting rocked in that fight. I think Nathaniel Wood beats Pineda. He's not a finisher, though, Nathaniel Wood. And Pineda is relatively durable. So I think I'm going to go with Nathaniel Wood on the judges' scorecards. I see him getting a decision. I think he outpoints Daniel Pineda, fights smart, and gets his hand raised. Let's check out the official scales, and then we'll look at the face-off. And they bring us to Patty. Wow. Are they not giving any love to our guys? Nope. We got to go here. This is crazy. I've never seen the order be so out of whack. That's wild to me. But listen, this is why I keep everything up. You got to use multiple sources sometimes. There is Daniel Pineda. He looks pretty fucking shredded, man. Great shape for Pineda. Credit where it's damn due. Pineda at nearly 39 years of age still looks like an absolute savage. Nathaniel Wood on the other side looks in great shape too. He's shredded and ready to go. He always comes ready. And I think we got a really good fight in store. Looking at the face-off, you can see, the flag's covering the frame a little bit. But you can see the face-off right there. Respectable clash. Respectable near nose-to-nose. Pineda looking real thick from the side, but we can't really compare to Wood because he's got the flag on him. At 38, Pineda's still a dog, but Wood is just simply the better fighter. So I'm picking the more primed and better Nathaniel Wood to get the win. Now, he's a really chalky favorite at minus 400, but he's still a confident pick. Pineda, a plus 300 underdog. I see Nathaniel Wood getting his hand raised. I think he pulls through on the judges' scorecards. I do think he could be in like your chalky parlay at minus 400. You add him in. I respect Pineda's durability. I'm going to guess it goes over at minus 170. Wood by decision, plus 235, I also think is possible. Fight starts round 2, minus 320. Interesting. The over 1.5 is better. But I do think fight starts round 2. Pineda's not an easy guy to put away. I'm going with Nathaniel Wood to get the win. On the judges' scorecards, he's taken out an absolute gangster in Daniel Pineda, but a nearly 39-year-old Daniel Pineda, who I think best days behind him. Wood to get it done. Let's jump to our main card opener. If you guys are enjoying and you haven't yet, make sure you smash the likes. And if you're new to the channel and you like the vibe, make sure you subscribe too. We have Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. I have been picking Arnold Allen all week, and boy, oh boy, I am confident in Arnold Allen. He's in fantastic shape. He's got high-level MMA skills, more MMA fights than Giga Chikadze, who's 5 years older than him. Arnold Allen can strike with Giga. I don't care about the kickboxing base. Arnold Allen can definitely out-grapple Giga. And I'll tell you something. Giga is lacking activity. 2.5 years ago, he lost to Calvin Kattar. 11 months ago, he beat Alex Caceres in a subpar performance. Arnold Allen, right, digging back to 2.5 years, he's got 4 fights. He whooped Dan Hooker bad. Calvin Kattar fight was an injury, but he was looking good early. Went distance over 5 rounds with Holloway, and then was super close against Movsar Evloev. And with the rule change, very well may have beaten Movsar Evloev, which now, like the hand-down rule, you can still knee them. I like Arnold Allen to win. I think he can beat Giga Chikadze. There's a chance of a finish, but I wouldn't go, chasing the prop of the finish. We'll check the odds out. I think Allen's more of a, money line parlay piece. I don't see him losing to Giga here. Now, let's check out the scales. And again, I'm going to have to dig back because for whatever reason, MMA Junkie didn't want to post them. So let's dig on back. We got Arnold Allen. Great shape, strong. He's a very strong dude. Fit, ripped. I still think he's a good contender. I think he's getting written off a bit. I mean, he's a big favorite still, but I think people forget about how good Arnold Allen is. Then there's Giga Chikadze. Chikadze's solid, but he's not Arnold Allen's level. On the ground, Allen bodies him. On the feet, Allen can still touch him. I could see Allen locking up a submission here against Giga Chikadze. Let's check out the face-off between these two. Giga Chikadze kept it clothed for the face-off, and there was a little bit of talk between the two. I think Giga was looking for an apology for something that Allen said. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I didn't hear it for sure, but I thought that's what they were alluding to. There's the face-off, though, and I think it's the Arnold Allen show, man. He's primed. He's going to beat the older fighter. Featherweight, almost 36. Allen, just 30. He's probably better now than in his past 2 fights. Give me the best version of Arnold Allen over the side of Giga Chikadze as a confident pick. I think he's a lock. Minus 215 for Allen. Chikadze, plus 185. I like Allen to win. The over minus 230, don't like it. Allen inside distance at plus 300. Interesting. I think Allen by sub is live at plus 500, but safety first would be playing plus 300. And then Allen at minus 215, I do think is a good parlay piece. And following the weigh-ins, the confidence on Allen has definitely grown, man. He's a confident pick. He's been all week. I think he's more confident of a pick here now. Arnold Allen to beat Giga Chikadze in our first fight on the main card. Let's keep running. Next fight on the main card, we have Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. And this is a fight that I have built a lot of anticipation around, especially this prediction, because I told you guys throughout the week, I'm spending more time on this. And my answer came to me today. I'm sticking with my initial lean. I'm going with RoboCop. Gregory Rodriguez, I think he can beat Christian Leroy Duncan. It actually wouldn't surprise me if he beats Leroy Duncan by a decision. Now, on the ground, he's live for a submission. He's got the knockout power for sure. But Christian Leroy Duncan, as slick and dangerous as he is from the outside, I think Gregory Rodriguez works towards pressuring Leroy Duncan back, landing some shots on the inside, but mixing in takedowns. I like Leroy Duncan a lot, but here's the truth. He hasn't really beaten anybody of note. And say what you want about RoboCop's chin, he's got good wins. Jun Young Park, Brad Tavares last time out. I have to hold those to a higher account than beating Claudio Ribeiro last time. So I'm going with Gregory Rodriguez to get a win over Christian Leroy Duncan. I cannot write my guy off. I can't do it. I simply cannot do it. Now, I do want to check out the scales between these two. And again, we got to jump back here. We got to dig on back. Where is RoboCop? Well, there's Christian Leroy Duncan. Looks in decent shape. Fit, ready to go. He's a long guy, slick guy from the outside. And then we got RoboCop, who somehow has like added points to his aura. The little fucking goatee. So not even goatee, the 5 o'clock shadow. I don't know. I felt something about Gregory Rodriguez even as he walked on to the ceremonials. I said, man, he seems like more confident than ever. It seems like he's leveled up his game. And I'm going to go with RoboCop to get the win. I think he pulls through. We got to find the face-off between these two now. Let's make it happen. Bump, 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 ba-dum, ba-na. There's the face-off. Gregory Rodriguez is a little taller. Somehow Gregory Rodriguez looks younger. He's like done the opposite of most fighters. He's aged in reverse. If they tie up, Gregory Rodriguez has a big advantage in the grappling, and I will expect him to fight with a higher IQ game plan. I swear to you, after the Bruno Ferreira fight, he wisened up and realized, okay, I can't just go crazy trying to knock these dudes out. I got to set it up, and I think that's what he's going to do here with a very skilled Christian Leroy Duncan. Minus 128 for Leroy Duncan. Gregory Rodriguez, G-Rod, plus 108. I'm sticking with it. I'm not pick flipping it. I'm staying with my goods. Over 1.5, minus 135. I say yes. And then, let's see. Rodriguez decision, plus 425. Rodriguez sub, plus 550. Interesting. If you're going to bet this fight, which it's a high-risk bet, I think you go for plus money on Gregory or even just going for the over 1.5 because I think it does go into the later stage. I know Gregory Rodriguez has a couple knockout losses, but he's been stung by shots as he gets reckless, and I think he will fight smart in this matchup because he realizes the striking threat on the other side. Gregory Rodriguez for the win, and right now, I'm feeling decision, but sub is live too. Next fight on the card, we got our featured bout of the night. We got Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. Throughout the entire week, I've been going with Paddy Pimblett. Now, I have heard some things through the grapevine, and I can't 100% assure you of the truth. But this is what I heard, that Paddy Pimblett was fainting today leading up to the ceremonial weigh-ins. What does that mean? Was he panicking? Was he dehydrated? I don't know for sure. But there have been fighters that have supposedly fainted backstage, come back and won fights. I'm not pick flipping because of it, but I got to tell you guys the information that I've heard. So that's the honesty. I think Pimblett can win. Pimblett by sub was my call earlier in the week, but again, I'm kind of feeling a decision call here today. I think Pimblett could catch Bobby Green, or King Green, rather. I was shitting on him earlier in the week, calling him Queen Green. But, you know, I'm giving him a hard time. I'm going with Paddy Pimblett to beat Bobby, though. Or to beat King, though. I'm going with Paddy over the Queen, baby. Queen Latifah's going down. There's Paddy Pimblett. He was in a depression a few weeks ago. He seems pretty happy now. There's Bobby Green. Looks shredded and ready to go. Both guys on weight, in shape. It's going to be a damn good fight. Let's get the face-off. Heated face-off. Both guys were jawing a bit back and forth. Pimblett said something about taking him down. I heard it. I know Paddy Pimblett is going to look to grapple here. Bobby Green does have decent takedown defense, but I do think Pimblett's got a big grappling advantage. So the submission could be the money call. I think sub is live here in this fight, and I've been calling Paddy the Batty to get the win. I'm sticking with that side. In the striking realm, yes, Bobby Green's the better boxer, but Pimblett does have good hand speed, and he's a little bit, unorthodox with his striking. Very athletic, too. Dangerous kicker, and I feel like he could catch Bobby Green, even on the feet. but I expect him to look to grapple, and I think that's where he shines and thrives. So give me Paddy Pimblett for the win. He's an underdog at -104, green at -116. So essentially even money fight right down the center. Over is -150, riskier play. Don't really like it. I'm not really loving the bet for this fight either. If you're looking for like a D-Gen parlay piece, yes, for the value. We'll talk about that at the end. Pimblett by sub is +340, a decision, +270. If you're going to bet, I think you just go Pimblett straight down the center. Even though we're hearing some rumors about him fainting, I think he'll be okay. Paddy the Batty to win, and still undefeated in the UFC. Takes out Queen Green. Next fight on the card, we got Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes 2. They run it back in our co-main event. This time we look for a conclusive finish. I have been picking the side of Tom Aspinall throughout the entire week. Curtis Blaydes has knockout power, and he does have very good wrestling, but he doesn't have very quick level changes. There's going to be an obvious speed difference in the striking from previous opponents of Blaydes and Tom Aspinall. Aspinall's speed is mesmerizing. Yeah, we saw 15 seconds of the fight last time. I'm not taking much away from that. I think Tom Aspinall can rock Curtis Blaydes. I do think Curtis is going to look to wrestle. I think Tom Aspinall is going to recognize the shots, be able to defend, and I think he'll find some big shots on Curtis Blaydes. I do think Tom Aspinall has leveled up since the first time they faced off, and maybe it was a blessing in disguise that he got injured, because maybe at that time Curtis Blaydes would have had his number, but now this version of Tommy Aspinall, I believe, is special. I think he's the special one. I'm going Tommy Aspinall by knockout. He's going to sleep Curtis Blaydes and pull off the biggest win of his life in front of the fans in Manchester. I'm looking forward to it. Tom Aspinall is the guy, and still interim champ. Let's check out the scales. There is Curtis Blaydes. He looks kind of surprised here. They got him with a bad pick. He looks kind of like George Foreman in like 1970 with the way he's got those pants up high. He looks like Sonny Liston actually a little bit too, because it's an old school style. Tommy Aspinall, decent shape for him as well. Both guys ready to go. Let's see who takes it, man. Let's see who takes it. Let's check out the face-off if we can find them. Bump, ba-dum, bump. Is there a better face-off pick, or are they just giving us these shitty angles? No, there's a good face-off right there. There's a good face-off right there. Curtis Blaydes, Tom Aspinall. Aspinall a little taller. Both guys ready to rock. Obviously, the flag around Aspinall, so we can't really do like a side-by-side frame comparison. But, yeah, both guys are pretty built. Both guys are pretty strong. Speed advantage, Tom Aspinall. Boxing advantage, Aspinall. Jiu-jitsu advantage, Aspinall. Wrestling advantage, Blaydes. 2 out of the 3 covered by Tommy Aspinall. What does Blaydes do with that? Does he try to wrestle Aspinall for 5 rounds and embrace the grind? What happens when Aspinall stings that chin up? How does Blaydes respond? I think Blaydes is getting knocked out. He's been finished in all 4 of his losses by KO. Granted, one of them was a doctor stoppage against Ngannou. Doesn't matter. He's also getting chinned here. Tom Aspinall for the knockout. And still interim champ. He's a really big favorite at -400, but he has been a confident pick throughout the week. And then looking at Blaydes, +300 as the underdog. Under 1.5 is -170. You're playing with fire there with 2 big heavyweights. This fight could end in a minute. Knockout win for Tommy Aspinall, my official method of victory prediction, -175. And Aspinall inside distance, -350. That sucks. If he pulled off a sub, now you got +1,000. But Aspinall subbing Blaydes would be a crazy feat. I guess he could sub up Blaydes if Blaydes shot a sloppy takedown, and then Aspinall potentially locked up a guillotine or even took the back of Blaydes. We shall see, but ultimately I think this fight is going to take place for the most part standing, and that's where Aspinall is going to shine and lay Curtis Blaydes out. Aspinall for the knockout win. He's beaten Blaydes. Blaydes was knocked out 2 fights ago against Pavlovich. Not using MMA math at all. I know Aspinall also chinned Pavlovich, and then Volkov destroyed Pavlovich, and obviously Blaydes grinded Volkov for 5 rounds. So, different fights. Styles make it. Tom Aspinall still getting a KO in the co-main. Let's jump to our main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash the likes. If you're new to the channel, subscribe it up. We got Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. Obviously, for the rematch, I'm going with Team Belal. We're going to get our final answer after the no contest. I'm going with Leon Edwards to win, though. I think I just said Team Belal to troll you guys. Actually, it's also the hype of me talking about this fight. No, I think Leon wins, man. I expect the kickboxing from Leon and footwork to be a big difference maker. Ultimately, I don't think Belal has the speed to keep up with Leon. I also think he's a little bit heavy-footed, and I see Leon chopping at the tree and destroying the legs for a good amount of this fight. There's also going to be moments where Leon looks to wrestle. In the first fight, he shot takedowns on Belal. Trust me, he's going to want to put Belal Muhammad on his back. I expect Leon Edwards at some point to land a big takedown on Belal. Now, Belal will have a couple of moments here. He's got an amazing gas tank. His striking is pretty solid. He really has underrated body kicks. Belal's got great body kicks, but I don't think he's going to be able to sting Leon up with anything too crazy. I think Leon and Belal go a 5-hard technical type of fight. Good calculated pace, and I think Leon's getting on the cards. Now, I will look back to the first fight. There's something worth mentioning. Leon Edwards, in that first fight, okay, was hurting Belal Muhammad bad in the first round. He's also calling a knockout. It would be nice to see him get a KO, especially in the UK. I think the KO is a live method of victory for sure, but, you know, not a lock on the damn KO. The official pick throughout the week has been decision because Leon, for the most part, is a great decision winner. Belal Muhammad, also a great round winner. And I think when we match them up together, I go for the better technical skill set of Leon Edwards, who I believe has really found this flow right now. And I think he's getting 4 rounds to 1 over Belal Muhammad. And still champ, we're going with Leon in the main event. Now, as far as the scales between these two, Leon looks shredded, the most aesthetic man in MMA. That's what we've heard through the YouTube sphere. And you can see why. He looks fucking jacked. And then Belal coming in great shape as well, ready to do his thing. He's somehow become the villain this week for sure. He's taken on that villain role. He's against the British crowd. There's an intense face-off between the two. Leon's saying he's knocking Belal out. So I guess with the bad blood, maybe we got to anticipate a knockout as opposed to a fight going distance. I think this match could end up being a lot better than anticipated. I don't know. Let's see if the emotion takes over and they go to war. I do think that Leon is right, saying Belal's too slow for him. And obviously, Belal hates Leon. I don't think that Leon hates Belal. But Belal has a lot of hate for Leon. He said he hates his guts. That's crazy, man. These guys really... There's vengeance here for Belal. But ultimately, I think Leon Edwards is going to be the winner at the end. Minus 250 for Leon. He's a big favorite. Belal, plus 210 is the dog. Looking at some things here... Over 4.5 is minus 205. I don't know why I got a feeling that we might be getting a finish. Maybe the under's the play at plus 165. Not at the official call, but sometimes you got to go for the value. And plus 165 with bad blood between the two fighters, maybe more of a likelihood of both guys overexerting themselves for a finish and somebody getting put out. Now, if you do like Edwards by a KO, it's plus 250, upwards of plus 300. Edwards by a decision is plus 115. I think knockout or decision are both very live methods of victory. I like the possibility of a knockout as a fan, for sure. It's just Leon, for the most part, is a safety-first fighter, bad blood aside, and I will stick to my guns with the official prediction being Leon Edwards by a unanimous decision and still welterweight champion. Now, those are the UFC 304 post-weigh-in predictions, but I'm not done just yet. I want to talk about the post-weigh-in parlays. Do I have any new ideas to give you guys? Anything that's feeling good on the inside? First things first, I'm going degeneracy over everything. Oban, Elliott, okay? You put Oban, Elliott, Paddy Pimblett. This is for the value. That's what it's for. You get plus 337. If you like Mokaev, who's decent value too, you got plus 600 for that. Not a bad call if you're looking for some degeneracy, some savage shit, and you want to get big plus money. And I think it's an outcome that is quite probable. Now, if you're looking for an alternate parlay, I do believe Shauna, Bannon, and Bukauskas both have good chances of winning. If I can find Bukauskas here, I guess he's down here. Wow, he got promoted up here. Boom, Bukauskas there, plus 165. I think this is a little alternate parlay going against some, confident leans throughout the week, things that are feeling better post-weigh-in as opposed to anything else. I'm going to leave Mick Parkin out of a lot of them because I got a weird feeling about Mick Parkin. I don't know why. There's things in my stomach that tell me Mick Parkin is a bit of a flight risk. Arnold Allen, minus 225. Nathaniel Wood, now you got minus 126. I see both of them pulling off wins. If you want to go Arnold Allen and Tommy Boy, minus 123 for just a main card parlay. But I know you want to get plus money. You don't want to just be, locked into the favorite status. So plus 125 for the big three, I also think is live. I like Arnold Allen a lot on this card. Let's see here. Do we go underdog supremacy? Gregory Rodriguez, Paddy Pimblett, Oban Elliott. Let's see what that is. Boom, plus 853 with Mokaev as well. Plus 1421. All right. Plus 1421. Now, these are some post-weigh-in calls. Earlier in the week, I called parlays such as, Mick, Parkin in your lineup with a Mokaev and Aspinall. Those are still viable as well. Mokaev, right? Getting it done with Arnold Allen, plus 130. Add Tommy Boy, plus 189. I think there's a good chance of that. Then if you want to add in the side of Paddy the Baddy, plus 464. I think it's live as well. There's alternates that you can mix it, like if you want to go with Shauna, Bannon, and Bukauskas, but I have to give you guys fair warning on doing that alternate parlay with Shauna, Bannon, and Bukauskas. Neither is relatively proven inside of the UFC as opposed to, some of the other fighters on this card that have proven track records in the octagon. And as I say that, I'll go Loughran, right? I think he's got a good chance. Wood and Allen, plus 162 for those three. Possible outcomes, man. The post-weigh-in parlays sometimes for me get over-analytical. That's why I like the earlier in the week parlay section more than anything on Wednesday during this week's Best of MMA Bets, where I write it all out, because I don't get influenced simply by the scales, which at times is a beautiful thing. At other times, it's tragic. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Weigh-In Recap Show. Definitely let me know what you thought in the comments. If you're watching for the first time, make sure you subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, smash that like button too. I'll be live for the whole card, so I'll see you guys for the Fight Companion. Much love to my people watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments. If you got nothing to say in the comments, but you just enjoy the content, as always, W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.